My next guest, Victoria Arbiter, has spent a life in close proximity to the royal family, having lived in Kensington Palace since her early teens. The daughter of the Queen's former and perhaps most well-known press secretary, Victoria has attended some of the royal family's biggest occasions. She joins me now live from New York. Victoria, thank you very much for your time. The death of Prince Philip, I guess, is not a shock, but it's certainly such a significant moment for that nation, him being the longest serving consort in British history.
Yes, indeed. Well, good morning and thank you for having me. And yes, you're right. On the one hand, at 99 years of age, no, it's not really a shock that Prince Philip has passed away, particularly having recently spent a month in hospital, the longest he's ever spent in hospital. But at the same time, I think most people alive today don't remember any other monarch, and by extension, they don't remember any other consort. So I think we are perhaps all a little bit guilty of just assuming he would always be there simply because he always has been there, walking a dutiful two steps behind the Queen. And it's quite interesting when we look back at 2012, when there were the Diamond Jubilee festivities in the UK. After the river pageant, Prince Philip was sadly hospitalised, having developed a bladder infection. And a couple of days later, during what was the last event of that weekend, a service of Thanksgiving at St Paul's Cathedral, the Queen was filmed walking the very steep steps to the cathedral alone. And it was the first time Britons had really seen her at an occasion of that magnitude by herself. And I think it was then that people realised that actually members of the royal family, they're not invincible. They are human, just like the rest of us. But still, Prince Philip is going to leave a tremendous void that is simply irreplaceable.
And Victoria, it comes at a time of, well, there's been a fair bit of torment for the Queen within the royal family and in relation to one of her grandsons. And I wonder how this is going to feed into that quite complex relationship now with Harry and Meghan.
It's certainly been a very difficult time, but there's nothing quite like the death of a family member for everyone to reset their perspective and to understand what really matters in life. I think Prince Harry is going to be struggling tremendously with this loss in particular. He's always been very, very close to Prince Philip. You have only to look to his wedding in 2018, and there was Prince Philip arriving at the wedding unaided, without a walking stick, without a wheelchair, having had hip surgery just weeks before. Prince Philip was determined to be there for his grandson. Now, because of the pandemic, Prince Harry hasn't been home in well over a year, hasn't seen any family members, obviously, during that time. Had we not had a pandemic, he would have been home multiple times. So not only do we have a lot of time since he's seen his family, of course, there was the Oprah interview as well, the fallout that happened as a result. I think this is going to be a very difficult couple of weeks for Prince Harry to navigate. We don't know at this point if he's definitely going to be able to fly home. I certainly think he's going to be desperate to fly home. At the same time, there are an awful lot of restrictions in place regarding travel, regarding quarantine once you get to the UK. Of course, members of the royal family can't be seen to be having any special favours. But I hope people will extend Prince Harry a little compassion, a little grace, given everything that has happened over the last few months, because this is going to be certainly very difficult for him to bear in terms of his grief.